All right, there have been quite a few people now that since the announcement that the White House and President Trump are going to release the classified UFO files, that many of the people who've been advocates and trying to get information out there and that have been fighting the fight, so to say, they've been speaking up a little bit more and saying what they hope to say. And one of those people is Representative Burchett, Tim Burchett. He was talking about the things that he has seen and the hope of what President Trump will release. So let me bring up these comments and the things that he said, and then we'll talk about the possibilities and whatnot. So check this out.
The classic UFO is the saucer shaped and there's something on top. And I've never seen anything. I've not seen it. Well, I take that back. I've seen things, but that's since I've been in Congress and I'm not allowed to discuss this. I would just hope that the president would disclose everything that I've seen in every SCIF I've been in every confidential conversation, every picture I've seen, every video I've seen. I wish that he would release all those.
Would that change the world? I mean, would that change people?
No, I don't think so. I think we just realize that we're one grain of sand in 100 million beaches. And I mean, if you think we're the best that God can do, I think you greatly underestimate God.
All right, so quite a few things there that I found interesting. And I think the first part is where he said, well, I haven't seen anything. He catches himself quick and said, well, I've seen stuff, just not before, Congress. But now that I have, these are the things that I hope that he would release, the things that I did see. And I like the honest answer at the end there. So would it change the world? No, that wouldn't change the world. It would just basically show that we're not the only things out there. I do think that would change the world tremendously if people actually paid attention to everything that they released. If they did indeed release stuff, that's just the stuff that he saw. That's just the stuff that he heard in the SCIFs and other things, right? So what about the other stuff? About maybe there's people that have seen stuff that he didn't see, and they released that stuff also. What's questionable to me. And again, I know that I've been, and I always preface this, I want to make sure, I'm not a skeptic in the topic. I do very much believe that there's more out there than just us. I believe that these things are not government made. I do believe in the interdimensional thing. I do. I've said that. I'm skeptical with trust when it comes to anybody in government. And the reason why this tweet came out in general, right? And I know the one about disclosure. Now, was it a distraction from the Epstein files? Was it a counter to Obama saying what he said on Mark Tyler Cohen's show? Because we knew that this potential speech was going to happen, and the fact that if you notice, and what was done well there, everybody was talking about Obama saying aliens were real. And nobody really talked about that counter, the follow-up, where he said, well, no, what I meant was, everybody was talking about President Obama said aliens were real. And then as soon as Trump said he shouldn't have said that, and then the tweet came out, ain't nobody talking about Obama really about it anymore. It's more about what are these files going to say? What are these files? What's he going to release? I hope he releases this. And the conversation has now switched to what he's going to do. So my question now is going to be, are they really going to do anything? Because I think the perfect follow-up to that tweet to show that you're serious about it is mention it in the damn State of the Union. You mentioned everything else and you threw out as many insults as you could and did all that stuff too. Fine. Throw in some insults about the fact that nobody released alien or UFO information for years. What was that? You just said you were going to talk about it and do all the files. That was your opportunity. In a 2-hour speech, that was your opportunity. And it didn't happen. So that's when I start to go, is he just playing to the audience? That likes says, don't worry. I know you guys like this topic. There's a big enough audience that likes this topic. I'm going to give you some stuff. Are you? The answer might be yes. They seem to be optimistic about it. Burchett, Luna, at the very least, as where Moskowitz and Garcia and those people are going to have a harder time knocking on the door. I think Burchett and Luna and the rest of them, they're all gonna have an easier time. Burleson, they're all gonna have an easier time knocking on the door and saying, "Hey, we need a little bit more access here." Now, if you did get to some of this stuff that they said, because it looked like Burchett and Burleson and Luna and a few others were in that room that he's talking about of what they've seen. And it all seems like they thought there is a lot more out there than just what we see, right? It seems like every time Luna talks about it, she's convinced about the interdimensional thing. She's convinced about the fact that there's more out there. She's got more information. That's what I want them to be able to discuss also, right? Because that's the other thing that wasn't really discussed in that interview is if Trump declassifies everything and says, "I want to release this," not only is he going to declassify that stuff, but now Burchett and everybody else who was in that room can talk about exactly what they saw also. So even if he's like, "Well, we can't show those particular pictures, but you guys can talk about it now," I want to hear about what they saw and then hunt that down. So that's what I'm also very curious about. And we haven't had much follow-up from the White House since that initial tweet. Maybe there was behind closed doors and things that just isn't public. But as far as right now, not seeing a lot that makes me think, okay, they're really pushing forward on this. And again, the goal and the agenda was to focus in on the State of the Union. But myself and many other people were hopeful that inside of that 2-hour speech, there would be something about this topic. Maybe there's just not enough information to give. But even to mention that this was coming, if there is significant information out there that shows proof of other life outside of us, intelligent beings, that's the 2-hour speech in its own, in my opinion. But who knows? What are they really going to show? What are they really going to see? Are there going to be things? I think that over the next 2 months, that's when we're going to be really asking a lot of questions, especially if there's nothing that has been shown in the next 2 months. And people like Burchett and the others there's going to be a lot more pressure on them. Like, well, what's happening? So unfortunately, my attempts at Burleson have gone nowhere. I thought that I was going to have him on the show a couple of times, and it just radio silence. So that doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So which is fine. I've been not doing as many interviews on this channel anyway. I was just going to do that because I had so many questions for him. But I'm sure he's going to be talking to others about it. So we'll be following up and covering wherever he is talking about this stuff, because this is now probably a major thing for him now that he's one of the ones leading the charge here. So we'll find out. We'll see what happens with this potential dump of information. And what do you guys think? Do you think that when and if the files are declassified, things like this, what Burchett is talking about, is that the stuff that's going to come into light, or is going to be more documents, or maybe just something saying, no, it's foreign government stuff. It's all it is. No extraterrestrial stuff. None of that stuff. That was just kind of false information. Will there be that kind of swerve? What do you think? Put your thoughts in there. Let me know. Thanks for being here. As always, I really appreciate it. Hit subscribe, click like, comment, do all that. We'll see you back here real soon.